Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing great at your places. And today we'll be doing a very interesting chapter, that is the fun they had. So let's just begin with this chapter. Title of our chapter is The Fun They Had. Right. Let's just read this story. This is a science fiction story about the education system in the near future. In the near future, that is 2000, मतलब आप कह सकते हैं 2157 ईयर में ये कैसा एजुकेशन सिस्टम होगा. So it is basically related to science fiction story, right? So Margery even wrote about it that night in her diary. Diary में उन्होंने लिखा हुआ था. See what is the spelling of diary? It's CIA. while writing dairy, जहाँ पे dairy products मिलते हैं, that is DARY, right? On the page headed 17th May 2157, she wrote today, Tommy found a real book. इसको तो एक असली बुक मिल गई है. It was a very old book, बहुत पुरानी है. And this Margaret की grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, जब वो बहुत young थे, his grandfather had told him that there was a time when all the stories were printed on a paper. ऐसा एक time हुआ करता था जब बहुत सारी stories प्रिंट हुआ करती थी पेपर पे. राइट, दे टर्न द पेजेस विच वर येलो एंड क्रिंकी. बहुत ही पुरानी डायरी है तो वो बहुत ही येलो और क्रिंकी पेजेस है. क्रिंकिंग मतलब थोड़े थोड़े फटे हुए. इट वॉज ऑफुली फनी टू रीड दोज वर्ड बट स्टिल इंस्टेड ऑफ मूविंग द वे दे वर सपोज टू ऑन अ स्क्रीन, जैसे वो होने चाहिए वो वैसे नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑल द वर्ड्स आर वेरी ओल्ड. राइट, एंड देन व्हेन दे टर्न बैक टू द पेज बिफोर, जब वो पीछे पलट रहे थे, हैड द सेम वर्ड्स ऑन इट. बिल्कुल सेम बात थी. that when they read it for the very first time, जो उन्होंने पहली बार रीड किया था, बीच में आके भी सेम ही वर्ड्स थे. He said, Tommy, what a waste. क्या waste time है ये. When you are through this book, you just throw it away. इसको बाहर फेंक दीजिएगा, right? Television screen must have a million books. बहुत किताबें हैं television screens के ऊपर. And it is good for plenty more. And I would not throw it away. मेरे पास बहुत है, but I will not throw. Right? Same with mine, said Maragi. मैं वो भी नहीं कह रही है कि मैं भी ऐसा नहीं करूँगा. She was only 11 years and had not seen as many telebooks as Tom had, and he was 13. Tom was 13, whereas this girl, Margery, she was just 11, right? She said, where did you find it? आपने इसको कहाँ से मिली है ये? In my house, he pointed out without looking because he was busy reading, क्योंकि वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा reading में busy थे. And in the attic means in that aroma, so in that performer of reading the books, right? What's it about school? Margery, she was scornful. Scornful means related to थोड़ा सा डांट वाला behavior. School, what is there to write about school? I hate school. School के बारे में क्या लिखेंगे हम school के बारे में? मुझे तो school बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं है. Margery always hated school because she hated it more than ever. अब वो उसको और ज़्यादा hate करने लगी है. The mechanical teacher has been giving her tests, and after tests in geography में test दे रही है. He had been doing worse and worse. बहुत ही ज़्यादा गंदा कर रही है test में. Until her mother shook her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector के पास गए हैं. He was a round little man. उसका बहुत ही ज्यादा रेड कलर का फेस है. उसके पास बहुत सारे टूल्स हैं विद डायल्स एंड वायर्स. बहुत सारे टूल्स हैं जिसमें डायल्स हैं, वायर्स हैं. He smiled at Margery and gave her an apple and then took the teacher apart. और टीचर को साइड में लेके गए. Margery had hoped that he would know that how to put it together again. वो जानती होंगी वापस कैसे करना है, वापस चीजों को फिक्स कैसे करना है. But he knew that how. All right, after an hour, there it was again, a large, black, ugly, with a big screen on which all the lessons they were shown and questions were asked. एक big सी screen है जिसपे ये सब चीजें हो रही हैं. That was not so bad. The part Margery hated most of this thought where she had to put home and test papers. जहाँ पे उसको homework और test paper करने थे, वो उसको बहुत गंदा लगता था वो part. He always had to write them on a punch code they made learn. She was 6 years old. जब वो 6 साल की थी, so they used to make a punch code, and the mechanical teacher calculated the mark in no time. और बहुत ही कम समय में mechanical teacher used to calculate the marks, right? The inspector had smiled after he has finished and patted Margery head. उसके head को शाबाशी दे रहे हैं. Said to his mother, it's not the little girl fault. ये little girl की लड़की की कोई गलती नहीं है. I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick. बहुत ही जल्दी जल्दी कर रहे हैं काम. Those things happen sometimes and I have slowed it up. अब मैंने procedure को थोड़ा धीरे कर लिया है. An average of 10-year level. Actually the overall pattern of her progress, जो उसका progress है, is quite satisfactory. और उन्होंने मागरी के head को again शाबाशी दी. Right? Now this Margery, she was disappointed. वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा sad feel कर रही थी. She had been hoping that they would take the teacher away altogether. उसको ऐसा लग रहा था कि टीचर के साथ लेकर जाएंगे. They had once taken Tommy teacher away from nearly a month because the history lecture was blanked out completely. एक बार उन्होंने टॉमी की हिस्ट्री टीचर को भी लेके गए थे, विच वॉज हिस्ट्री के सेक्टर में, जो कि बहुत दिन तक खाली था. He said to Tommy, "Why would anyone write about school? कि स्कूल के बारे में क्यों लिखेंगे लोग?" Tommy looked at her with a tear eyes. ऐसे देख रहे हैं. Not a kind of a school, silly. This is the old kind of a school. ये आज जैसा स्कूल नहीं है, पुराना स्कूल है. And hundreds and hundred years ago. He added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully. That is centuries ago. Means they are talking about thousands and thousands years back. Margery was heard. Well, I don't know what kind of school they had the last time ago. पहले कैसे स्कूल हुआ करते थे, मुझे कुछ नहीं. He read the book over his shoulder for a while, पढ़ रही है, and said anyway they had a teacher. Sure, they had a teacher, but it was not a regular teacher. It was a bad, because earlier there was no teacher. One single teacher is there in the school who has to all the students occupied in a single room, right? A man, how can a man be a teacher? एक इंसान, एक आदमी कैसे टीचर हो सकता है? Well, he just told the boys and girls and gave them homework. उनको homework दे रहे हैं and ask them questions. The man is not smart enough. ज़्यादा smart enough नहीं है. Sure, he is my father. My father must know him as a teacher. मेरे पापा जरूर जानते होंगे. He cannot, because a man cannot know as much as a teacher. एक इंसान, एक man टीचर के जैसा जान नहीं सकता है जितना एक टीचर जानता है. He knows almost as much. I bet. मैं bet करता हूँ, right? Margery was not prepared to dispute that. उसको लड़ाई करने का कोई इरादा नहीं था. She said, "I would not want a stranger man in my house to teach." मेरे को कोई अजनबी इंसान नहीं चाहिए अपने घर में जो खड़ा होके मेरे को पढ़ाए, right? Tommy screamed with laughter. You don't know much, Margery. The teacher did not live in the house. Teacher कोई घर में नहीं रहते हैं. They had a special building and all the kids they went there. और सारे बच्चे वहाँ जाया करते हैं. All the kids they learn the same things. Some things learn करते हैं because they are of the same age, of course. But my mother says the teacher had to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl. What is his mom saying? His mom is saying that the teacher has to be adjust करना पड़ता है. एक टीचर को बच्चे के माइंड के अकॉर्डिंग एडजस्ट करना पड़ता है. It teaches and that kind of kids had to be taught very differently. बच्चों को बहुत अलग तरीके से पढ़ाना पड़ता है. Just the same, they did not want, they did not do it then that way then. और फिर वो उन रास्तों पे ही काम करते हैं जैसे कि बच्चों का माइंड होता है. If you do not like it, you don't have to read the book. अगर तुमको नहीं पसंद आ रहा, then please don't go through this book. I did not say I didn't like it. मैं ऐसा नहीं कह रही कि मुझे पसंद नहीं है. She wanted to read about these funny schools के बारे में पढ़ना चाहती है, this Margery. They were not even half finished when Margery mother called. मम्मी ने उसको बुलाया. Margery, school, just look up. Not yet, Mama. He's saying, no, मम्मी, अभी मेरा जाने का मन नहीं है. Now, said Mr. Johnny's, and it's probably time for Tommy to worry. Tommy का भी समय हो चुका है. And Margery said to Tommy, "Can I read the books? Some more with your school, with you after school? क्या मैं स्कूल के बाद तुम्हारे साथ और किताबें पढ़ सकती हूँ?" Maybe he said non-silently means ऐसे ही हम हाँ बोलते ना, हाँ 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 पढ़ेंगे. That is kind of. He walked away whistling the dusty old book and tucked beneath his. अपने आम के पास ऐसे रख के चल गई. Margery went to the school room में चली गई and it was right next to her bedroom. और वो बिल्कुल उसके बेडरूम के पास था. And the mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. उसके लिए वेट कर रहे थे. It was always on the same time. वो हमेशा सेम टाइम पे होते हैं. Every day except Saturdays and Sunday, because उसकी जो मॉम है वो कहती हैं कि जो लिटिल गर्ल्स हैं they learn better if they learn at regular hours. अगर वो रेगुलर आवर्स में सीख रही हैं then they will learn much better, right, than on the weekends, right? The screen was lit up. Screen खोल दिया. It said today is the arithmetic lesson is on the addition and the proper fraction. See, when we are talking about an arithmetic, we are talking about four important functions, that is addition, subtraction, multiply and division. All these comes under this arithmetic. And fractions, we all know, anything which is in the form of p upon q, where q is not equal to 0, उसी को हम बोलते हैं fraction. That is denominator upon numerator upon denominator, where denominators are never 0, and if they will be 0 then it will be right. Please insert yesterday homework in the proper slot में. आप please homework डाल दीजिए. Margery did do with a sigh. आराम से कर लेगी. She was thinking about the old schools when her grandfather, grandmother जब छोटे छोटे थे. all the kids from the whole neighborhood वो आया करते थे, बातें करते थे, shout करते थे. They all are sitting together. फिर साथ में ही स्कूल से वापस जाया करते थे, सेम चीज़ों को करा करते थे, दूसरे की हेल्प करते थे होमवर्क कंप्लीट करने के लिए. एंड द टीचर्स वर द पीपल एंड द मैकेनिकल टीचर was flashing on the screen when we add the fraction 1 and 1/4. देखिए कि 1/2 और 1/4 को ऐड कर रहे हैं. आई थिंक यू ऑल नो दैट हाउ टू ऐड दिस बिकॉज दिस इज बेसिकली एन improper fractions where you have to keep the denominators same, then you have to add by taking the LCM of 2 and 4, right? Madhuri was thinking about that kids शायद पुराने जमाने की पढ़ाई को बहुत पसंद करते थे and she was thinking about the fun they had, and it has been written by Isaac Asimov, right? Moving on to this word meaning, first word is crinky. Crinky means having a lot of folds. बहुत सारे folds हैं, lines हैं, cracks हैं. Awfully means very. Attic is a room just below the roof of the house. मतलब अपने घर के नीचे एक नीचे कमरा. Scornful means one who is very stupid, right? Mechanical is related to machine. Slot is of course a narrow opening on a you can say computer or किसी भी device पे slots होते हैं where we have to insert the plugs. Right? Pattern is of course the regular way and blank out means एकदम खाली हो जाना, empty. Loftly means thinking कि आप दूसरों से बहुत ही ज्यादा worthy हैं. And this bachelor is an informal word for bed. डिस्प्यूट जहाँ पे अब लोग आर्ग्यूमेंट होता है सही गलत में, राइट? डिसएग्रीमेंट अबाउट समथिंग. एंड नॉन चैलेंजली मीन्स इन अ वेरी काम एंड ऑफ कोर्स इन अ वेरी रिलैक्स्ड मैनर, कैजुअल मैनर में. आप कोई कंसर्न मतलब आपको बहुत चिंता नहीं है, हम ये बोलते हैं अरे कर लेंगे. दिस इज नॉन चैलेंजली, राइट? Moving on to this practice time, we'll be completing with all the MCQs. Tommy said that the books was about dash. It was about the school, right? And जो Maragri है, she hates about dash, where she had to put her homework and test papers. She hates about the bag. Tommy found a dash in the attic of the house, found a book. Tommy said that the school in the book had a dash as a teacher, as a man as a teacher. In Admi hai, the story is in the year 2157, right? Moving on to this fill in the blanks. So Marguerite, she was disappointed, right? Marguerite was not prepared to dispute. लड़ाई करने के मूड में वो बिल्कुल नहीं थी. Right? Tom look at her with dash eyes. कैसी eyes से देख रहे थे? With the superior eyes. Right? Marguerite went into the school room and she was just 11, right? And had not seen as many telly books as Tommy had. See, Tommy is a proper noun. That is why T is capital in between the letter, in between the blank, right? Moving on to this true and false. Tommy found a real book. क्या Tommy को real book मिल गई थी? Yes, this is true. Marguerite always hated school. This is absolutely true, right? The part that Marguerite over the most was the slot when she had to put her homework and test papers. Yes, this is true. Margaret did not want to read the books about this funny school. This is absolutely false. Of course, she wanted to read, right? And Margaret's schoolroom was next, right to her bedroom. This is absolutely true. And moving on to this question answers, please complete all these question answers. And I hope you all like this chapter. And please do learn all the word meanings that came in between the chapter. And keep doing hard work for your exams. And of course, do not forget to enjoy the Navratris at your place and stay blessed. Thank you.